so important for us, we wanted to compare the behavior among these different type of institutions and see if the significance of being private or public institution was significant for the activities of academics. So we wanted to see if probably there were more international activities in private universities compared to public universities, or maybe this distinction doesn't mean anything when it comes to internationalization. So we wanted to see if there was some sort of tend to imitate or trying to become similar between this type of institution. And we use the institutional isomorphism to guide this research question. And then here this is not to go deep, but just to understand what forces drive this tend to mimic or try to be equal among different type of institutions. And there are different forces driving this a joint or trying to become similar. That could be coercive, mimetics, or normative isomorphism. And then here you can see what it means very, very briefly. So keeping in mind those considerations, so we wanted to see what affects or what is an incentive for our country to introduce internationalization in higher education. So we see some policy and trends, and then how we started probably is not the ideal way, but we see that during the 1990s, the governments encouraged the development of collaborative ties with international counterparts, but more like a way to positionate the country, put the name of the country outside, rather than pursuing educational goals. So the idea of bringing internationalization policies in the country at the beginning of the 1990s was that we wanted to put our name outside in the country rather than being better at internationalization or bringing new students. So this was very political. And then we see that this spark for internationalization was fostered by public and private agencies. So everybody wanted the country go international. And so we got funding from different type of institutions and many type of public and private offices wanted to be part of this trend. So more recently, in the 2000s era, we see that now the policy on internationalization got more focus, and then the funding for these activities was focused on those universities that were the highest rated in terms of quality. So if you get the highest excellence in terms of the National Accreditation Agency, you are secure to get this funding. And this is for you to increase the internationalization of your institution, whatever it means. So institutions are autonomous to decide what path they want to take. So this is the overall context, the policy trends that we see in the country, and now we want to share with you the method and result of the survey. So very briefly, I'm going to share with you the result of 1,250 complete responses. We analyzed 24 items in this survey, and we ran two types of analysis: descriptive analysis and then the Cross-Wallis test and Mann-Whitney test too. So what we see here is that, as you remember, we have three types of institutions, right? Public universities, traditional private, which are more selective institutions, are more prestigious private institutions, and then the less selective institutions that we call private SUA. So these three types of institutions, we try to see their responses and see if there is any variation among them. And sometimes we find a lot of commonalities, and sometimes we see some statistical differences among these three types. So for example, when we ask our academics the views on their whether they emphasize international context and their teaching, they tend to agree, the academics in all these three types of institutions, not so difference between public and private SUA, and there is some more agreement among traditional private institutions. So there is some sort of trend agreeing that most of the international graduate students is not a common trend in Chile. We don't have much international graduate students, so most of the academics tend to disagree with this view. And then when it comes to teaching, also we ask whether this emphasis on primary research has some international orientation or scope. We see that there are some similarity between public and traditional private, and not so much commonality with the private particular SUA. In terms of increased revenue, as part of the benefits of being international, there is some sort of agreement, but it's still different between the three types of institutions. And then here it is interesting when it comes to what extent academic observe internationalization. There is a good sort of agreement that it allows to enhance network, research network. So we see that public and traditional private are quite similar. They say that very often internationalization helps to enhance a research network, and everybody is on the same page when it comes to the perception of the increase on the mobility of students. So here we don't see significant statistical differences. And then here we don't see much agreement when it comes to faculty mobility. So we see that probably there is a more positive perception among traditional private universities, and then very low or not so promising perception for public and new particular private universities. And then there is also a significant statistical difference when it comes to the question about whether the institution encourage the recruitment of faculty members from foreign countries. Everybody seems to think differently. For example, for public institutions, academics tend to agree only in 10% that there is some recruitment from abroad, whereas in the private, particular private, it is 18% compared to 28%, for example, for traditional private. So there are important differences here. And then in terms of the opportunities, internationalization comes with a cost. This is not cheap, this is not free. So if you want to engage in international activities, probably you are going to need funding. And so this question asks for that. And then again, one, I don't know how it's in Malaysia. We will look forward hearing about your system. But here, for example, traditional private universities, as they are very prestigious, they are also very well funded. They have a lot of money, and therefore they provide more opportunities for international to engage in international activities to their academics. And that is why we see they tend to have a more positive view on their funding opportunities compared to
you have 5 more minutes. Sorry.
Okay, yes, it is okay. Thank you. I'm almost finishing. So there is some effect on how much funding they have in the perception that academics might have. And then what is important too is about the publication and whether the faculty perceive that their institutions encourage them to publish internationally. And here we see that in private, traditional private universities, more than a half think that they strongly agree that there is an important push from their universities to publish abroad. It's not the same from public universities and newer private universities too. So and in terms of results, so we see there are statistical differences according the type of higher education institutions, and we see them in 6 out of the 24 items that we analyze. So we see that there are statistical differences across all types when it comes to the recruitment of faculty from abroad. So pretty much everybody thinks differently. And we also see some statistical differences between private and traditional private, and also when we compare public and traditional private. So there is some variety over there. And lastly, we also see that when it comes to international publishing, there are statistical differences between public and traditional private universities. So this is the last slide. And so what we see in overall in the responses from academics is that the internationalization in Chile seems to take place mainly through 3 activities. The first one is about their course teaching. There is some international orientation in their teaching. And also there is an international orientation in research and in the making of networking and publications. And across the board, student mobility is something that is very dynamic for all the 3 types of institutions. And what we see is that there are differences between private and traditional private universities and between public and private universities. So if we go back to some of our theoretical considerations that we talk about the institutional isomorphism, which is the process by which one institution takes on certain structures and legitimates it, does not apply to the internationalization of all types of institutions. Institutions tend to become similar in some aspects, but not in all of them, and we don't see clear trends between public and private. So this seems internationalization seems to be a practice that we can see it in different ways, in different degrees, across all types of institutions. So this is what we wanted to share about our country. And we thank you for your attention. And here are with Pamela in case you have some questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Paulina, for that presentation. It's so interesting to see that in comparison to Malaysia, your private higher education institutions have more resources, for internationalization. So if any of us here have some, really dying questions, because in case Paulina and her colleagues have to leave because it's late over there, we can entertain 1 or 2 questions. I don't see anything on the chat box.
Oh, chat box. Okay.
Yeah. Anything?
Dato, I would like to ask a question.
Yes, please.
My name is Shi-Huei. I'm from USIM, University Science Islam Malaysia. Thank you, Ms. Paulina, for the very interesting and intriguing study presentation. I have a lot of questions actually, but I think I'm going to start with one. When you say that institutional isomorphism does not apply to all institutions equally, could it be because Chilean universities are more autonomous? I can see that, that they have more funding, especially the private one, as Professor Dato Norzaini said just now. And then I can also see that they are not, I infer that they, you did not mention anything about, state level or national level kind of KPI or mechanism that control their internationalization activities. So I wonder if autonomy is one of the reasons why you have such finding. Thank you.
Good question. Over to you, Paulina.
Thank you, Shi-Huei, for your question. It is a very good point what you make, because autonomy is certainly one of the main characteristics of our higher education institution. And it is also, there is a parallel factor that is also very important in Chile, that is the market. We have a strong market competition for everything, for students, for academics, for funding. And what is interesting too is that we see some policy trends that seems to apply for all these institutions. But the mechanism is through competition. So, for example, I did mention about the policies in the 1990s, where the government pushed for an internationalization of higher education, regardless whether they were public or private. It was the same for all. And then in a more recent trend, we see the same mechanism, but this time only applying for the highest quality of institution, but these are private and public. So here the policies apply for everyone, and then only competition makes the difference. And what we thought as an original hypothesis is that because of the nature of the institution is so critical for them in terms of their mission or the nature of the institution and the way how they structure. So we thought a priori that there might be some differences in the way how they become international. But based on the survey result, we see that that is the case for very specific aspects, but in most of them, there are more similarities than differences. But then there is no conclusive statement or final conclusion, because sometimes publics tend to be similar to private, more traditional private. Sometimes more traditional private are very different from the other private institutions. So we don't see a clear trend. So it's a very good point to see if there are some other factors affecting this trend.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Paulina and Shi-Huei. Maybe just one quick question or other explanation from you, Paulina, whether the private universities or institutions in Chile are for profit or non-profit, if you know what I mean.
Well, yeah, by law, they are all non-profit.
Okay, that's the difference.
But that is it's only in the paper. Because in reality, we do observe some private universities for profit.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. If you can bear with us, because I know it's late, do stay with us. Otherwise, thank you so much for joining us. Changda and I and the rest of the panel really appreciate your contribution today. And we hope to see you, in other avenues in the future. So next we have Professor Daizen from Japan. Professor, can we get his PowerPoint up, please, Shariza? Thank you.
Can you see? Can you see it?
Yes, we can see now.
Okay.
And he's presenting on research on the factors of academic profession satisfaction with current overall professional environment. Over to you, Professor Daizen.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. My theme is research on the factor of academic profession satisfaction with current overall professional environment. This time comparing with Malaysia with Japan. Okay. Our research institute is next year 5th anniversary. So maybe I want to introduce some meetings. So at that time, please attend. This is a table of the satisfactions average. 20 countries of attending APIKS survey. Top is Kazakhstan and bottom is Lithuania. Average is from 4 to 2.889. Differences are bigger, I think. And this time we want to compare with Malaysia and Japan because Malaysia is a high satisfactory country, and Japan this time low satisfactory country. Why difference? I'm anxious about why big differ. Before CAP data, Japan is a high satisfactory country, including dramatically change Japan now, including a low satisfaction country. Why? The purpose of this research is to find a significant factor of academic professions satisfaction. And in this research, the factor of academic profession satisfaction were clarified by comparing with Malaysia. It's a high satisfactory country, and Japan is a low satisfaction country. We want to compare with two countries. Research review. There's a many satisfaction research. There's a many factors. There are. One is Cecilia is shows research productivity is important because research productivity is very relevant factor in exploring job satisfaction in academics in different stage of their career. This is data is a Spanish academics. Why the research productivity is important factor to explain is this is most important evaluation index of the academics. So if high research productivity at that time they evaluated is very high, so sometimes the salary is increased, or research fund is increased, or very easy to get the research fund is research product after maybe faculty if gets research productivity is high at that time is very they are satisfied. And next is JC thing imply the academic autonomy or reputation of academics is a source of the meaning. Job research productivity high is reputation is high, almost same meaning to papers, I think. And academic, I think also academic autonomy is very important, he said. And another is managing style is oh yes, managing style is important. And two papers almost same. Manager practice, managerism. Now is a new public management style is explored. In Japan also dramatically changed in Japan. Now is top-down management style in Japan introducing. Almost same trend is Taiwan. Taiwan is also maybe 10 years before. At that time is a bottom-up collegial style, management style, but dramatically changed. Now it's a top-down. Two countries almost same trend. Dramatically changed during the 10 years. And managerial culture was the important driver. Two papers say. And this paper is another basic motivation. Basic motivation is salary and working. They say their result. Yes, salary, and this is a basic factor. But salary, maybe elite stage faculty are not so interested in salary or working condition because all condition is very good. Nowadays, market competition like managing situation at that time is they need to they see to salary or they need to salary or working conditions good working conditions. This is also another factors. This is hypothesis. I set the six hypotheses. One is the number of previous study found the gender. Women faculty report lower satisfaction than their male peers. This is papers. But another paper opposite say, or another say, the job satisfaction do not show any significant difference by gender. But this is gender is factor or not. I want to check this this presentation. And hypothesis to the age or position, academic position. Senior academics are more satisfied and less stressed with their current job, while junior, the reverse. Bentley say, senior is more satisfied, he said. Is that right or not? Hypothesis 3 is a research productivity, already explained, and hypothesis 4 is a high social reputation. Hypothesis 3 and hypothesis 4 is almost same thing saying, I think. And hypothesis, this is 5, sorry. Top management leadership have a significant positive leadership with job satisfaction, and lastly, hypothesis 6 is a basic motivation. This is a salary or working condition. Many working conditions is the most important factors. These 6 hypotheses I want to check in this paper.
Next slide.
Yes, yes. This is framework, analysis framework. This is individual characteristics, gender, age, familial status. This is marriage or not. Employment status is part-time or not. Or employment contract is permanent or not. Academic status is one is a major. Major is from humanity to social sciences and so on. A highest degree is doctor, master, bachelor. Or I included in the postdoc. Postdoc is a top rank, and doctor is a next rank. Academic rank is senior or junior. Senior means professor. Professor and associate professor is senior, and assistant professor or lecturer is junior. Preference, it means what do you interested in education and research, primary research, from primary research to primary to education, 4 rank. And academic activity is a professional activity hour. How many hours do you work at education, teaching, research, social servicing, managing? And the number of articles, this is a productivity index. And teaching and research are hardly compatible with each other or not. And environment evaluation, 2 types. One is a management style. One is the current work situation. I want to explain later, table 2 and 3. What is the management style? This is a management style. I using the factor analysis. This is all factor, and we do the factor analysis. We find the two factors. One is collegial decision making. One is next is emphasis on the institution's mission. 2 types of management style. And current work situation, I find the 3 factors. One is academic freedom, and second factor is opportunity to enhance competencies, and the third is a career opportunity and salary. It means your institution's situation, academic freedom is keeping or not. It's mean, almost it's mean. there is opportunity to enhance competencies in your institution. And lastly, your institution gives a career opportunity or salary is enough or not. It's me. This is our current work situation. I want using all variable, and I conducted multiple regression analysis. Data is Japan data is 2,124 APIKS data. And I'm sorry, I do not get the permission using the data, but I use Malaysia data. I'm sorry. But Malaysia data is 4,368 cases. I jointly Japan and Malaysia data, totally 6,492 cases, are using these data at first. Analytical framework is already displayed. We're using the all variable, and data is setting data, Japan and Malaysia data setting data, and result and mean. This is very small. I'm sorry. This is the use variables situation. Dependent variable satisfaction with your current overall professional environment. It's variation is 1 to 5. Average is already say Japan is a 3.18 and Malaysia is a 3.63. Malaysia is bigger than Japan, less than 1 point significant level. Gender is a male, female. Age is this is under 39, one group, from 40s, 40 to 49, 50 to 59, and over 60. I selecting separating the 4 groups. Familial status already married and single. Employment is a full-time or part-time, and employment contract is permanently or other. It's mean time fixed employment. Others means, and the major is the humanities, social sciences, life sciences, natural sciences, engineering, agriculture. Dummy variables. Highest degree is this is a postdoctor is 4.321. Academic rank is senior and junior. Preference is this is primary in research, 2 primary in teaching. This is a reality. Japan is male-centered faculty system. 80% is male, and Malaysia is more female. Age is younger is Malaysia is younger, but older is younger, and Japan is older faculty, and female no difference. And employment contract is permanently is more in Malaysia. Japan is a small one, and this is a major, and academic rank is more. There is a many professor in Japan, more than Malaysia. Average is more, and preference is more prefer research. Malaysia is more prefer primary research is more, but more teaching and separating maybe in Malaysia. One side is a primary in research, one side is a primary in teaching. There is a faculty.
5 more minutes, Professor Daizen.
Okay. And this is also teaching hours averagely, and management style is here. And result, I do the multiple regression, three kinds of multiple regression. This is a full variables, and this is only in number of the article and teaching and research are compatible. Omitted the management style, the current situation. At that time, number of article is a significant factor to explain the satisfaction. But if enter the all variable, at that time, the number of article is no significant factor, changing to no significant. But the teaching and research and hardly compatible with each other is a minus, means compatible with each other at that time is satisfied. And management style is collegiality is a plus, and emphasis on institution is a plus, and academic freedom is a plus, opportunity to enhance of competence plus, career opportunities, salary is a plus, and research hour is a plus. These variable is a very important, significant variable. Individual, gender and age of familiar status and employment, this is not so significant. But after this, professional activity and management style and current situation is very important. So hypothesis 1 and 2 and 3 is denied. But next page, research hour, and this is important. So I want to back to our main purpose. Why Malaysia is more satisfied with than Japan faculty? Because Japan only research hour is bigger than Malaysia. This is a plus effect to satisfaction, but the research hour is a very small coefficient compare with this one 0.1. This is a 0.068. Very small, very weak effect to the satisfaction. Only that is Japan is bigger. And another factor is more positive to Malaysia. For example, teaching and research are hardly compatible with each other is a plus. Japan is a plus. Plus means minus effect. It means hardly compatible. So Japan is hardly compatible. So minus effect to satisfaction. And management is collegiality and emphasis of institution is Malaysia is more big number. It means positive effect to Malaysia, positive effect to managing style to the satisfaction. And current situation also, Malaysia is academic freedom is a plus, more than Japan. Opportunity to enhance of competence is more than Japan. Career opportunity and salary is a plus. I think these factor is big effect to the difference between the satisfaction between Malaysia and Japan, I think. This is my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Daizen. Do we have any questions? Because I think I'd like to take questions now because Professor Daizen shared a lot of detailed analysis that we may forget if we wait until the end. So it's best to actually ask him if you have any, questions relating to his analysis. For now, anyone?
Yes, me, Sophie.
Yes, Sophia.
Yeah, I have a question for Professor Daizen. I look up the research hours. I know that Japan is the hours are larger than Malaysia. And that's because for the pursuing the university ranking, and so the government put a lot of effort to ask people to publish. But my question is for the teaching and also the research are hardly compatible with each other. It's because the time consuming, or it's because the KPI set by the government or by the universities?
Yes, very difficult to explain why Japan is more than hardly compatible with each other than Malaysia. Maybe Japan government sets the KPI, this only research productivity. For example, in our university, presidents say, please write down only in the SCI paper. SCI paper is maybe is center to the natural sciences, but so at that time the humanity and the social sciences faculties very angry with this determination of the president. Now in Japan is a phenomenon, is a natural science centered, natural science centered country in Japan now, changing, dramatically changing. Maybe situation is the same, Malaysia and Japan, but very difficult to say. Malaysia faculty accustomed to this situation. Maybe traditionally Malaysia is pushed to the publish more and more, but now Japan now starting. So newcomer this situation. So Japan faculty are not accustomed to this situation. So some faculty say angry with this situation. So 10 years later, situation is changing, I think. Yeah, so this is my hypothesis. So how do you about?
All right. Any more? Just to add, Professor Daizen, you know, as my colleagues and I wrote on the satisfaction of the Malaysian academics and changing academic profession. Yeah. Again, as we look at APIKS data, this is, you know, the CAT data. We had a chapter on the satisfaction of Malaysian academics for CAT. Again, we see that the satisfaction is very high. However, in the CAP data, if you look at some of the feedback on infrastructure, research grant, and so on, you know, we see that academics were not very happy. Sometimes this is about culture. This is coming from me. I mean, I may not be right. This is about culture because we tend to comment a lot behind people's back or behind the top management's back, you know, that things are not good. However, when we are asked to rate the situation, we tend to rate positively. It's the culture of Malaysian. We talk at Kedai Mama or at the stall and we batter the universities and the system, but when we are asked to evaluate, we always give higher. It's whether we don't tell the truth or it's an Asian culture where we are very, yeah. So that's why when I look at the data for CAPS, I was a bit confused because a lot of the issues in terms of infrastructure, management, there were a lot of issues, but when it comes to when they rate satisfaction, it was high. So anyway, yeah, yes. Perhaps we are so used to the system, you know, that we say, well, the system is bad, but we are still satisfied. So it's quite a good indication. I'm not sure. I think. Anyway, so thank you so much, Professor Daizen.
I want to say one
yes.
Yes, that is a very important thing. So I want to compare with before's data and now is data. Compare with the time series data. Culture is changing or not? Yes. I think that's very important. So please CAP data, compare CAP data and APIKS data. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And also don't worry about getting permission, because we look at your abstract, meaning that we allow
Yes,
it to happen here. And also for the rest, for the others who do not really know the system, is that all Malaysian data has been uploaded to the system that is organized or being monitored by Finland, and only researchers in APIKS are allowed to use data. So in case people were wondering whether these are ethical issues and so on, no ethical issues as long as these are researchers in APIKS. So thank you so much for that. Next, we go to Dr. Doria, representing Malaysia.
Yay! Thank you so much, Prof. Zaini, and thank you, Prof. Daizen. To be honest, I'm still processing your presentation at the moment, because what I'm going to report later might be very different from what you're going to what your presentation is. So let me put that across first. So allow me to share my screen. Hold on, yeah. Okay, you should be able to see a presentation slide. Can somebody indicate whether the slide is on? Okay, so everyone raises. Okay, thank you so much, guys. So on behalf of the Malaysia team, and thank you also to Prof. Zaini. She's the head of the research team, but then I have the opportunity to present on the team's behalf. So we're going to look at this concept called quality of work life. For Malaysian academics, as I mentioned earlier, the result is, I try to put my result, our result, and Prof. Daizen's result together side by side to look at it, because for our result is for our paper today, it's actually a time series presentation. We compare from CAP 2007 to APIKS 2019, so it's like a 10 to 12 years of gap in terms of comparison. So when we talk about quality of work life, we are looking beyond what is measured in HR. HR measures things like whether your salary is good, whether your working conditions are good. We look at quality of work life in terms of the autonomy. This is somehow mentioned by Prof. Daizen just now. Self-motivation, improved well-being, career satisfaction, work security, and other perks like flexible working arrangement, also very important since we are all working from home now, and also job restructure. So these are the aspects of quality of work life that we're looking at. Why we are proposing this topic is because as a researcher myself and as an academic, I'm very interested to see what happened to my seniors, how their experiences, and also to compare with what I'm experiencing. Am I on the right track? And I think the result will be very much of interest to a lot of academics out there. So from previous researchers, these are the indicators of quality of work life. But there's a lot of it being studied, but essentially I've categorized it into 4 main components. Number 1, employee development. This is on mainly on training, compensation and benefits. We're talking about salary, performance appraisal, compensation, grievance management, and also voice and representation. Working environment, this is a standard indicator that is measured in researches around quality of work life, satisfactory working condition, work-life balance or imbalance, I don't know, health, safety and psychosocial well-being, job stress, and finally, I think this might be more important for the academics, especially employee engagement, in terms of how we relate to our superiors, decision-making processes, and also relationship with our colleagues. Now, again, looking at it from a literature perspective, quality of work life is essentially important to impact institutional performance. When you work in a very good conditions, when your needs are well taken care of, when you are respected, you tend to contribute more. Lecturers are more motivated, research outputs are more, they are more involved in the development of the university, and they feel a sense of belonging and linkage to the university in general in terms of nodality, authority, treasure, and the whole organization in general. So as I mentioned earlier on, this paper attempts to compare across a range of time. So Malaysia is lucky to, because of Prof Zaini and the team, previous teams, we have been participating in this global survey since 2007. So we started with changing academic profession and then moving on to the most recent version, academic profession in the knowledge-based society. I think if you're interested, you can contact us to get more information about this. Essentially, this set of survey is a global survey. Everyone's using the same questions. It's just that probably we might tweak it up a bit based on local context. So it gives us a very good indication to compare across not only from country case studies, like what Prof Daizen has mentioned, but also from the time series perspective. So the key questions to address in this presentation, I am reminded that I have around 10 minutes left. What is the quality of work life for academics in Malaysian higher education, and how has it changed over the years? So this gives us an overview on the response rate for the two global surveys. We have like 3 times increase in terms of, approximately 3 times increase in terms of respondents. As Prof Daizen mentioned, we are very big in terms of the female representation. Although if you ask Prof Zaini, the leadership representation for women is very low for Malaysian higher education. I think one point that I should highlight here is our responses, especially for our APIKS 2019, is predominantly public focused. Meaning to say a lot of the responses come from public institutions. So it might explain some slight variation. I think I cannot remember which point, but there was a point mentioned in the previous presentation. So and we are actually very heavy in terms of junior academics. When I look at this particular result, I am not happy because I'm just in this field for about 3 years. Not a good time to enter academia, if I can put it lightly. So these are the indicators that our team uses to define quality of work life. So there are 7 indicators altogether. I'm going to only present 5 indicators today. Importance of personal affiliation. It refers to how closely you are affiliated to your institutions, your departments, and your academic discipline. Personal preference in teaching and research, whether the academic is more leaning to research or leaning to teaching, or you are both, but then you lean on heavily to one aspect. Average time spent on activities, and 3 statements that were included in the global survey for both versions. Personal strain. This is a poor time for any young person to begin an academic career. And if I had to do it over again, I will not become an academic. And finally, another item that I won't present today, but rest assured in our final paper, we will be talking about it. To what extent do the academics influence policies at the department level, at the university level, right? So results 1, personal preference in terms of the research. So we see that within a 10 plus year period, a lot of us, the respondents are leaning towards research. This has been verified by Prof Daizen just now. Some of us are still prefer teaching, but then it's a very smaller percentage. And there are people who are in between, meaning to say both leaning towards teaching or leaning towards research. So that's item number 1. Average time spent, I think I'm going to spend a bit of time on this particular slide. So as you can see, Malaysians overwork. The Malaysian academics overwork. During CAP, the juniors spend 36.82 hours and 41.94 hours for work. So, and then 10 years later, in 2019, when the APIKS survey was released to the Malaysian respondents, the junior academics work on average 48 hours. The senior academics work on average 53 hours. And as you can see, their research load in terms of the number of hours spent on research is increasing, almost twice for junior academics, and I think around 0.5, 50% for senior academics. The rest, of course, increase. So this shows that we are an overworked population at the moment. Next, average time spent by gender, not much significant difference, but then we would see that, again, irrespective of gender, the amount of time spent on research is increasing. I think to explain to the international crowd here, our career progression is hinged on, at the public sector at least, is hinged on publications. So we have to spend time doing research in order to be able to publish papers. So that's the direct relationship for why the average time spent is significantly increased for research. Okay, so now in terms of the personal strain, my job is a source of personal strain. This is also a very worrying picture. During CAP 2007, we see that it is, sorry, previous. Okay, 26%, 26.1% males agree, 26.9% agree. 10 years later, the figures are almost comparable for males and females. So it almost gives us an indication that the more things change, the more they remain the same. I would assume that the academics are still not satisfied with the some details of their work conditions. Okay, the patterns of responses are pretty much similar. Okay, this is for the advice given. This is a poor time for any young academics to enter academic career in my field. So in CAP 2017, okay, sorry for the error here. It should be strongly agree for male section. So in 2007, almost 40% of males and females said that it's not a good time to enter. But I would say that in 2019, the figures have gone down significantly. Probably the intention to contribute, or the passion to contribute to knowledge has and the interest has increased among the people. That's why more people are seen entering or agree to enter academia. Okay. Now, if I had to do it over again, I will wait. If I had to do it over again, I will not become an academic. Again, the patterns remain the same. In 2007, around 50% of the respondent, male, female respondents said that yes, and they will not enter academia. By 2019, the figures have significantly come down. So it would, in a way, probably more improvement in terms of working conditions or perks that were given, some compensation and benefits have increased or improved over the years. But what I would take away from this particular result is the response patterns are almost similar, irrespective of comparing 2007 result and APIKS 2019 results. Now, I'm reaching the end of my presentation, around 3 minutes remaining. So the immediate conclusion is I understand that we couldn't really just put this result in stone. More analysis have to be developed. So the conclusion, a brief preliminary conclusion is that the Malaysian academic fraternity is an overworked and stressed population, probably on the brink of collapse, because irrespective of rank and gender, the number of working hours increase, more time spent on research, and they are more inclined to spend time on research. Academic career is a strain, and then it's not a good time to join academia, and probably a decision to reconsider whether they want to join academia is put on the table as well. So coming now, implications for policy. Malaysia has introduced this module called Strengthening Academic Career Pathways and Leadership Development. This is one transformation shift out of 10 in total for Malaysian higher education blueprint. It's a transformation blueprint from 2015 to 2025. So under this particular transformation shift, we are looking at the role of academics in terms of 4 different distinctive groups, because we believe that every academic is unique in his or her own way. So you either become an inspiring educator, an accomplished researcher, an experienced practitioner, and an institutional leader. So what comes into question now is the first 2 categories, inspiring educator and accomplished researcher. Are we heading to this group, or have all the research and academic or administrative workload bogged us down? Now, in terms of implication for future concept and theory development, there's a lot of things to look at. Coming back to the concept of quality of work life, APIKS alone or CAP alone, we only partially explore 2 of the categories, working environment as well as employee engagement. However, we do not explore in depth in terms of employee development and in terms of compensation and benefits. Compensation and benefits, it might be done by organization behavior or HR practitioners in the field, but probably it's time for us to look beyond working environment and employee engagement to look at employee development and researchers relating to this field. So I think that's it from me. Thank you so much for your time, and very much welcome questions, because I aim to improve this paper after this. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Doria. Any questions? Or if you're still thinking, we can wait until after Sophia's presentation, Professor Sophia's presentation, or if you have any, yes, Shi-Huei.
Thank you, Dr. Doria, and the research team for such comprehensive research looking into job satisfaction for Malaysian academics. My question is, do you think the inclination towards research, despite the preference towards teaching due to the KPI demands in the profession, is doing good? I mean, would it be for the future of Malaysian higher education? Would it be at the expense of teaching, and that would have direct impact on students and the quality of graduates that we are producing, and also the original or the main purpose of higher education? Thank you.
I'm not so sure if I should call you Dr. Shi-Huei or Puan Shi-Huei at the moment.
Not yet.
It's been a while. Lama tak jumpa. So I might need Prof. to answer as well for this question. yes, actually, probably because of the actual imposed KPI for the academics in public sector. Again, I would like to remind everyone that this survey is actually very heavy to public sector. That's why you see them going more inclined to research. We are required to publish a number of papers per year, even as a junior academic. So my KPI, for example, is around 6 for this year. So yes, that is very much external driven. If you don't publish, you cannot get promoted. In terms of the question whether the inclination towards research will affect teaching, there is actually another section of the survey that looks at teaching research nexus. So not really appropriate to present at this point of time, but then that particular, again, indicators from the survey can be used to track the teaching research nexus. I can't remember the exact data, but for teaching research nexus, I think what we are more concerned is whether your research informs your teaching or whether your teaching informs your research. So we can communicate later in terms of talking about it. Prof. Zaini, anything to add?
No, not at the moment. So, but we can have more discussion later. Thank you, Shi-Huei. Let's move on to Professor Sophia's presentation. Professor Sophia?
Yes, I'm here.
Over to you.
Yes. I try to have my PowerPoint here. Hold on. I kind of lost my screen.
We've got it. Yeah, we can see it.
Oh, you can already see that. Okay, good. Okay. What I'm doing is the same as the Malaysia team. I also compare with the academic working condition, especially in teaching and research in Taiwan, and by using 2 data sets. This is our team. Well, don't forget, this is Robin. Yeah, he broke his hair now. So we might see in this afternoon. What we are doing is, because I'm using the new management as a very important theoretical base to do that. The reason I'm saying this is because now the government, the Taiwan government, is shrinking his governing role. So he kind of using many competence-based funding program to have the university to compete funding and the money. And also, so that's made the university try to reduce their restriction, and for either the academics or even for the organizational management.
Sorry,
and,
Sophia, have
yes.
we lost your presentation, or is it just not coming out in my?
Oh, really? Now
Yeah.
it's okay now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Okay, I don't know what happened. Well, anyway, hold on. Well, anyway, that's why the universities get a lot of authority to the professor to decide what they want to do. And also the new management also influence the Taiwan management system in higher education is because we are using the market-oriented management mechanism, just like Japan and also Chile and even Malaysia, they are doing now. So they emphasize the teaching quality and also the research probability, productivity, and also especially very important is they raising the appointment standard for the academic employment. So that's why we have very high standard for promotion and even for recruits the new faculties. And for the theoretical part is why we value the new management. It's because the government find out that there's so many has been criticized, too many the traditional bureaucratic system exist in the government. So, and also if we want to compete a university, or I mean the worldwide university ranking, so it must have to improve our performance, especially have more money and funding from the private sectors, and also introducing some innovative technology and also the method in the university. So that's why the government start re-examine the government market and also the government and society relationship. That's why we for the past 10 years, which we moved from the very top-down government system to it's like you know, the new kind of managerialism, the system now, and then we move to the next one. Like I said before, the government, if they want to control the university, well, the situation in Taiwan is like I think it's like Japan. We have over 55% are the private university, and for the rest of them are the public ones. So it's close to 60% the students are studied. They studied in the private. So if the government before that they using the competence-based project, but then they find out most of the money or the funding are obtained by the public university rather than the private one. So since the President Tsai, I mean our president, she wants to take care of all of the students, so they kind of integrate all of the project together. So I think for the 2005 to 2017, we have two big programs for university. One is the Teaching Excellence program. They strengthen the core value of teaching. So all of the university have to put a lot of efforts on teaching, including the student learning and the professional development, and also the employment rate. So the government set a lot of KPI during this stage, including you have to self-position your university like you are the research intensive university or the teaching university. That's make you, you know, to divide your own position in the higher education. The reason they are doing this is for the sustainability. They want those universities can sustainable develop. And so for the top university program at the same time, same stage, that at that time we have a 12 university. I mean, we call it a key institute. They give a lot of money, try to make them become the worldwide university, and also build up a lot of research center. So that the reason we are doing this is just try to improve our research standard and also the academic distinctiveness. And the other one is the international visibility. So you may find out at that time that the teacher make the academics divided two groups. Either you are close to the teaching, or the other one is make more yourself to publish more paper. And since the President Tsai has been elected as the president, she wants to take care of all of the university, either private one and also the public one. So we started having the higher education sprout project. So in other words, they put all of the money together, become the platform. They're concerned about, they're also concerned about those competitive funding mechanism has made the university try to choose their own side to decide which money they want to getting. And also, so that's why they will ignore the student benefit, like the teaching quality. So, so the government tried to make the teaching and the research being balanced. So they put all of the money together, but that's good one. That's good one. That also make the university become more diversified development in Taiwan, but also ever make the professors think about what kind of the academic track you want to be in. So talking about the changing in the working condition in Taiwan now, I would say, I think especially for the past 5 years, the Taiwan government, they made the university also select that kind of model to run and also to handle the university, because they have to facing the funding dilution. And also the government so much emphasize on the performance. So in order to attain more funding, the university just follow the KPI and also that will alter the organizational operation and also the management. So the question, the issue is that made a contradiction between the teaching profession, also the research input, and also that will switch the role of the academics. And the other one I think is about the academic work become diversified. Like we have to do, just like the other countries, we have to do not just the teaching and also the research, but also the services. And also sometimes we have to recruit students from the other countries, or because we really have the low bursary issue now. So it increase a lot of administrative tax for the university. And also for the ranking, not just the worldwide, but also the domestic ranking, made the university compete a lot. So the ranking such as is sort of like an audit or the monitoring system to make the university to encourage or even push the academics to find the funding resource. And so that's really influenced the academics' view on teaching and also the research. And the other one I will call it is the research heavy panorama, because that's made the university become the research one and also the non-research university. In other words, in the non-research university, it doesn't mean they don't care about the research. They still have to care about that. But because they have many undergraduate students, so they have they have a lot of teaching hours. So that's make them have a relatively less research time, but they're still facing the teacher evaluation every year. And so many the public university professors has been laid off because they cannot match the quality or the standard from the university side. So what we are doing is because we try to explore the transformation of the higher education system and also the academic under the pressure of the university ranking or even the domestic ranking, and also the government shrinking role and competition-based funding in Taiwan. So in this paper, we will describe the changing contents of higher education and also the changing academic work condition, especially I put on the teaching input and also the research oriented, and also it's relevant to the managerial transformation, and try to find out what are the issue and the challenges of the higher education transformation in Taiwan. The data we are using is APIKS in 2019 and also the APA. Well, the APA is the same as the CAP because at that time the Taiwan teams is not the members in the CAP international group, but the Professor Arimoto Sensei invited Taiwan to group another Asia group. We call it the academic profession in Asia, using the same questionnaire as the CAP, but we delete some question based on the Asia cultural. So we just try to compare these two, the serial tracking data, and try to examine how the Taiwan academic perspective on the institutional governance and also the working condition under the transformative trade. And this is the research framework we are doing. You know, the question for us is because the limited the items can be selected. It's because look at here, we in the CAP we don't have the public and the private university like item. So all of that, and we have to match two questionnaire. But anyway, we have a control variable is like agenda, academic rank, discipline, and also the academic tendency. But for the independent variables, we are choosing the international governance management. These three questions are more related to the new managerial model in Taiwan. And for the dependent variable, for the working condition, we only select one item that's a satisfaction with your current working condition. But for the teaching input, it's like teaching hours, and also improve their own instructional skills, and also the knowledge and the skill emphasized in their teaching, and also for the international context in their teaching. But for the research emphasis, rather than the papers coming out, but we asked them what are the, how do they characterize their emphasis of their private research. So there will be a theoretical research, applied one, commercial oriented, or even the social oriented. And with this research framework, we try to, where is my, oh, here, okay. So for the hypothesis, we just try to compare these two data, try to know, I mean, for the, under the new marriage governance system, how the working condition, and also for the background variables, compare these two. And also we try to know whether they have a significant correlation under that kind of the model, and have some correlation, significant correlation on with the working condition, teaching and research, and try to know whether they have some predicting power, or can you know, to say something. What are the important indicator for us, for the government to do that? So the data set is those are the full-time academics from the higher education system. And the APIKS, we only have 400. At that time, it's not difficult. So you know how much money we spend on that, because each question we spend 2,000 NT dollar to have them to do that. So we collected one by one. But for the APIKS, I think it's good. I think it's good. It's still, we have more than 1,200 questionnaire, valid questionnaire back. And so for the category that we know, I think for the academic rank, at the APIKS stage, more professors here, but to the APIKS, I think it's more reasonable. I think it's look like the condition and situation in Taiwan. And for the teaching one, I think for the APIKS, we have more teaching. You know, you probably can guess the reason why, because we have so many government projects emphasize the teaching. So make the university, besides those 12 top university, otherwise they will position their own self as a teaching research, teaching university. And I think the instrument, like I said before, one question I want to raise, when we are doing the two-stage, the data set to do the comparison, all of the reviewer will criticize us is about the Comba alpha. So I would say that one article here can explain that. It said both Comba alpha efficient are not so high, because they said one reason that the shorter scales record a lower reliability coefficient than do the longer scales from which they are divided. So I would say the reliability value are less impressive, but still satisfied. So it makes this research can move on. And I think I will skip some I think the tables, but because I will make it explain later. So in the APIKS, the male faculty are good, are really have a higher significance in the good communication. And for the APIKS one, this is very interesting. In APIKS one, the Sheffield test, I will say the professor are more, the field that have the same feeling, or made a significant positive significance than the associate to the system. But to the APIKS one, it just revised. The assistant professor will more emphasize or look at the good communication and care about the communication, and also the academic friend. I would say that this is for the previous tables. I would say. In both stages, the academic range and also the academic tendency indicate the most significant change in the institutional management. I think that's good. And also the APA survey, the academic perceive better internet interaction between the administration and the academics through the proper communication channel. I would say that's because when the government put a lot of money to the university, I think the university must need someone to implement, to do the project. So they will ask the junior faculty to do them. The assistant professor better receive the school administrative effort to support the teaching and research. And also they want to get a promotion. So they must have a very good relationship with the administrative level. And the other one is the research-oriented faculty additionally emphasize their participation and consensus in the decision-making process. I think that's because they want to get more money and funding, so they can kind of speak out their own right to have, to show their own authority, because they have a paper and the university need that. And this is for the correlation part. I think those are the positive significance. But look at this one. This is a moderate positive significance. But to the APIKS, they become the lower positive significance. I would say that it's because for the past 5 or 6 years, the Taiwan government emphasized the institutional research. So they built a lot of that kind of office in the university. So that the university have a more data, even the scientific data. So that's why the data-driven scientific model of decision-making allowed academic to experience equal dialogue. It's not the speaking or the decided by the president. And also they have a more democratic autonomy. So that's why they weaken the relationship of the independent variable to the working condition. I think it's good. I think it's good because they made the information more transparency for the professors. And this is a multiple regression. I'll say those one, and then you can find out from the APIKS, the working condition. There are 2 very the predictors from the good communication, and also the collegiality in the decision making. Both equations show the same predictors. So I would say this is for the exam model. I think those 2 are good for this 2 stage. I will make the conclusion. It is fine. The traditional bureaucracy has been regarded as the obstacle. I think this is very obvious in Taiwan to the workload and the environmental satisfaction for the Taiwanese academics, especially under protect of the university law. It means the professor has the right to speak up, and also can refuse, and also can have their own idea to do whatever they want to do. I don't know whether the university law is good or bad in Taiwan, but it's really have so many university president argue about that. So that's why the academic emphasize the reduction of the restriction on the campus autonomy and also the democracy management. And also the university at that time, since then, the university must decentralize the administrative management and also increase the academic channel for dialogue and also the decision making. Otherwise, no professors would like to cooperate with the administration because they need data, they need a product, they need the outcome. But if the professor doesn't want to cooperate with that, that's a horrible thing. And for the equation, I mean this is for the teaching one. I think the equation, regression equation is also good, and also they all have the emphasis in the institutional mission. I bet all of the professors, that is what, because we always emphasize the teaching quality, especially we can look at from the project, the funding project. So that's why when the universities say our mission is for teaching, so that's why the professor will switch to that part, because they have too many hours to teach and also have a lot of teaching evaluation. And this is for APIKS, and this is for the APIKS. So I made this one to explain the previous two table. I will say, agree with the school purpose and the goal has certain degree of influence and the predictive power on academic teaching input. I think that's one we find out. And also, as the recent market-oriented the mechanism regard student as the customer, I think many universities will present themselves as a teaching-oriented university. One indicator to decide whether you are the teaching or the research one depends on the undergraduate and also the graduate student, the number of the graduate student. So like the Taiwan University, 100% is a research one because there are more than 2/3 of students are the graduate. And also the university administrative model becomes more flexible, and give more support and also a lot of the communication channel for the university, for the professors. And those are the research emphasis. This one is the research, for the regression to the research emphasis. And this is the equation model. There's only one predictor has been found out is a good communication. So even I served in the University of Taipei, we know that we call ourselves is the teaching university, but always is dominated by the research professor because whatever they say, the university also follow up because the money is coming from their effort most. And this is for the coefficient. And for the APIKS and the APA surveyed indicate, like I say, the good communication between management and academics have a positive impact on the research emphasis. And even their explanation power is not so high. But anyway, I would say the organization, the university has become more and more flexible and also have a less influence, I think less influence on the teaching emphasis and also the research part. In other words, the influence of university government on the academic research oriented and the productivity is diminishing. They cannot require them to do anything. They just follow whatever they have been trained in their doctor program. They just follow what kind of research style they want to do. For the conclusion and the suggestion, I would say, just like I said before, for the assistant professor, they have a more positive significance to the good communication between the management and academics because they have to talk to the management the level all the time. And so what we have to do is try to suggest have the continuous dialogue between the university and the professor, especially for professor, because we believe the professor are the important force for the university's stable development. So without their cooperation, I think even their system, I think that will make this university sustainable develop. And the other one is the government the university have to keep cooperate with government and also the enterprise. Otherwise, the university professors won't make their own research, more close or intended to the market-oriented one, like R&D capability or other, the industrial requirement. And also, we know the academic begin to attach importance to the personal right to speak. I think that's okay. But I think that's for the research professor. But for the teaching professors, I think we need to strengthen their concept of partnership and also cooperate with the college rather than just follow everything. And for the APIKS one, I think we still have to say keep established the IR office as the decision-making support for the professors because they are getting used to the evidence-based the school governance model. And also, I think that this research tell the government the crucial role on the institution's mission can evolve the faculty to more pay attention to the not just teaching but also the writing. And I think this is also the good. I think that this comments this suggestion is one of the, I think should be paid attention to, because I always wonder why Taiwanese professors, they so stick on their own research preference without changing to to either cooperate with the industry or the government. I think it's because related to their doctoral education training or even the postdoc training. Whatever they have been trained in their doctor program, it seems like has been fixed to that kind of the hobbies or their own the preference. So I also point out the limitation. I would say the APIKS survey did not include the title of the university. So I cannot compare the private and also the public one. And also since we already have the using the institutional management as an independent variable. So for the future study, maybe you can explore other potential factors to bring this variable together, such as the doctor training or receiving during their doctor degree. And also can add academic activity, especially for the outside services to the university, probably will contribute something to this research. So this is the report I have. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sophia, Professor Sophia, for that presentation. It is really heartening to see that changes are occurring in the Taiwanese higher education system, whereby collegiality is coming back, and that academic freedom and that academics are demanding more voices or academic freedom. We hope Malaysia will follow suit too, in that sense, because I think at the moment there is less discourse and collegiality. It's more of information, what needs to be done, what needs to be achieved in terms of KPI and so on. So it's very taxing for a lot of academics. Okay, we need to wrap up apparently, but I think because we have 5 more minutes, my time is 11:25. We actually finish at 10:30. So we have about 5 more minutes in case people have questions for the presentation, all the 4 presentation, anyone?
I do
Yes.
have a question for
Paulina, yes.
Dr. Sophia. Thank you. And thank you, Dr. Shi-Huei.
Yes, yes. Thank you.
I'm sorry for my pronunciation. And I thank you personally because of your interesting presentation. All of the prior presentation has been very enlightening and useful for us to learn about other higher education systems too. And I have a very specific question, maybe biased by my own role. And I would like you to explain a little bit more about the effects of the institutional research in the governance of your institution, as you mentioned that, and this is a good means for the governance of the university. But I wonder if that means because the data is available for everyone, and in that sense you can discuss based on evidence, or it is because you are more motivated to achieve certain type of indicators, performance indicators that might be more pressing for you to achieve.
Yes.
And I wonder about that because I am the director of institutional research at the University of Chile. So that is very interesting for me too. Thank you.
Well, this is my first time to using the APIKS and also the APA data, and for me the limitation for that is because we really don't have too many the same items for me to select. So I will leave the PowerPoint on the table so everybody can get it done. That's okay. For your question is about the research one. Well, I will say, if you go out as a professor, will you say I'm good in the teaching or I'm good in the research? For the Asia cultural, I won't say the other countries, but in Taiwan, if you are really good at the publication, I mean, you have a ton of the papers or the books have been published. You got your own reputation, no matter whether you are the professor or the assistant professor. So I would say, really the research professor dominate the higher education system in everywhere, even in the Ministry of Education. Even we are talking about the teaching quality, they still invite a research professor inside to say something. So, well, what should I say? So, it's really about the reputation, and also I would say that the data collect maybe have some bias because it's not really for us to collect the data from the professor. I don't know how the other teams, but anyway, the APIKS data has been uploaded to Finland, so everyone can download that. So you can find out. But for the APA, because that's invited by the Arimoto sensei, so there's no one. But if you like it, I also can give you a tag so you can see whether it's my mistake. So I don't know whether I answer your question, but I know maybe can leave some time. But I try to make the PowerPoint to the discussion room for everybody.
Thank you. Any more questions? If not, can we wrap up? So thank you so much. We've heard various sort of scenarios, kind of transformation, changes, but no changes at times. But it's been very good presentation, I think, and that we hope that something will come out of this. We are thinking about some kind of publication again, but we haven't really had an avenue yet. We are looking into it, but we will get in touch with you. But more importantly, I think the sharing session is extremely important. We get to see where we are in terms of the academic profession. Although we think ours is so bad, sometimes if we look into others and we see that the grass is not always greener on the other side and vice versa. So again, thank you, Professor Daizen, Paulina, and Pamela. Okay, Professor Sophia and Dr. Doria for the presentation. Thank you again. If you have time, do join us in the afternoon. Otherwise, it's been my pleasure. Hope to see you soon, and we'll be getting in touch with you soon too.
Thank you.
Thank you to the participants. Without you, this would have not happened. So we have a few people. We have Subarshi, Suhaili, Said, Zingli. We have Nikki. Some names I cannot. We have Binga, Charlotte, Anis. So we have quite a few, although we did not hear them except for one or two people. But thank you for being with us.
Prof, let's take the group
Enjoy your
photo.
lunch.
Bye.
Bye.
Good night for those
Let us
in
take a
Chile.
group photo.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Oh yeah, you want to get the good photo? Yes,
on
do
your
so.
camera. Yeah, can everyone on the video, please?
Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, one more. 1, 2, 3. Okay.
Right, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.